If you haven't figured it out already yet, you're beginning to understand that you cannot do this alone. Wealth building isn't a task that one achieves by themselves. It requires a whole bunch of people in your life. And so what I'd like to do now is explain to you a little bit about the financial team and who you need to have on that team and how that is going to work for you. What kind of interactions you need to have, how often should you be meeting with these people, who is on the financial team. One thing I've noticed about the team is people generally find themselves to a resource, a CPA or something, and then they stick with them for a very, very long period of time. There's nothing wrong with that. Though what I would say is it's a good opportunity to review your financial team every single time you have any big growths in your business. And if you look at it over the period of time of several years, you might see that, hey, since you began with this particular person on your financial team to where you are now, there's been a lot of growth. When was the last time you evaluated any of these people? All right, so who are these people and how do you evaluate them? Let's start with the bookkeeper. This is the first person on your team. So the bookkeeper plays a real critical component to the day-to-day, month-to-month financials that you're managing, right? The bookkeeper is going to reconcile your accounts. The bookkeeper will be producing reports for you, the profit and loss statement, the balance sheet, and so forth that we dive into in great detail in the other modules. The bookkeeper is also someone who could be paying your bills, could be doing it on the personal and on the business side. Now, some people say, well, I have a CPA and a bookkeeper, and they're the same person. I actually recommend that your bookkeeper not be your CPA not be your bookkeeper for two big reasons. One is the skill set for the bookkeeper is a little bit different than the skill set for the CPA. While they do need to work together, they are different functions, and so having two different people there can really balance it out. So on the bookkeeper side, this might be somebody that you're actually talking with on a weekly basis, depending on how busy your business is. And this is someone that you're going to come up with the systems on how you get bills to them and how they get reports to you and how frequently. I recommend that your bookkeeper produce reports for you a couple times a month, at minimum once a month. And those reports include your profit and loss statement for sure. So that interaction with your bookkeeper is 100% important to building out the financial team, and I would say they're a foundational player in that. All right, so who's number two? Number two would be your CPA or your tax advisor, right? Obviously really important. The CPA and the bookkeeper are going to work hand in hand. As a matter of fact, we'll do a little blue arrow here and say, these two folks are coordinating on a frequent basis. Probably the number one issue I find with CPAs is you're not meeting with them enough. So if you are reconciling your taxes every spring, then that is an indicator that you're not meeting with your CPA enough. You should be reconciling your taxes when they're due, which is several times throughout the year. So this is a very proactive relationship. You might be meeting with this person a couple times a year. The bookkeeper a little bit more often. The bookkeeper has data they're going to supply to the CPA. And I'll tell you, if your bookkeeper does a really good job, your CPA fees will be lower because the data will be a lot cleaner. There's going to be a lot of interaction and guidance between the two, but this is the beginning of a great financial team. All right, so who else needs to be on there? Well, the next one, big one here, is a financial planner. Now, not everybody needs a financial planner, but most business owners definitely do because there's all kinds of things you've got to be aware of. Different types of retirement vehicles that are available to you. How do you invest in the stocks, bonds, mutual funds markets? What about insurance? The financial planner, the reason I like them is they're taking a long-term view of your life. They're comprehensively looking at everything and saying, okay, based on this person's 20-year goal, 30-year goal, 10-year goal, is everything diversified in such a way that they're very likely to reach that end goal? They're a wonderful utility player. They're going to be interacting with the CPA. They're going to be asking for details from the bookkeeper. And they're going to be really showing you the pros and cons and different things that are available. Financial planning is all about trade-offs. If you do this, then you don't have this. And the financial planner will give you some really good insight into that. It's really important to have a financial planner if you're going to be coming into any money from, an estate transfer or something like that. That's critical. So while they're not going to advise on taxes, your CPA will do that, your financial planner will be looking to make sure that you are achieving your overall wealth goal in the period of time that you want to do it. All right, player number 4. Player number 4 here is the estate attorney. Now, the estate attorney and the financial planner do a lot of work together because the financial planner may, for example, recommend that you put your money in a trust, right? And well, the documents need to be drawn up, and that's going to be done through the estate attorney. The estate attorney is also looking at wills and power of attorneys and medical directives. And this is a tough one. I think in part because a lot of the questions an estate attorney has to ask you are questions nobody wants to think about, right? Like, okay, so what happens if you die? Where's your money going to go? Do you really want your nephew to get all that money, or they're irresponsible? You know, what if the two of you die at the same time? Like a lot of really heavy questions that people aren't like, oh yeah, let's just talk about that casually, right? A great estate attorney will give you a checklist of questions that they're going to be asking you, and they're going to work with your financial planner to make sure that the financial plan is legally protected through the documentation that needs to be developed. Now, of course, your estate attorney may be playing up here and asking your CPA some questions because some of the documents that the estate attorney needs to create may need the review of a CPA. So sometimes these two parties work together. Probably not a lot going back and forth between the bookkeeper and the estate attorney. And then, of course, there's you. You're in the center. You as the entrepreneur are left to triangulate all this, which is part of the challenge. And I'm glad you're here in the course because we're trying to help you do that. But these are your 4 critical players on your financial team: bookkeeper, CPA, financial planner, and estate attorney. Now there's some other players that I might put down here, right? These are some optional players. Those include people like your insurance agent. Having a fantastic insurance agent can be really critical in evaluating risk, which your financial planner and estate attorney should be helping you do from a legal standpoint. You might have a great banker down here as part of the team. You might have a financial mentor as part of the team. Now, depending on how you set up your estate, you might have an executor of the estate that's required per your estate attorney's guidance. You may have a trustee if you've set up a vehicle here with your financial planner and estate attorney. So you see that all of a sudden you've got a lot of different players, but these are the 4 critical foundational players. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's important to be evaluating how these folks are doing. How do you know how they're doing? Well, one way you can get a sense of it is you can get some people to look at it. So let's say you've got a CPA right now and you're like, I don't know if my CPA is doing a good job for me or not. Well, you could call a different CPA and have that CPA look at your tax returns and evaluate your situation and give you a second opinion. Same with a financial planner or an estate attorney. So if you get the sense that you've been with the resource for a while and you want another opinion, that is 100% okay. As a matter of fact, I say it's your responsibility. Having great relationships for years is certainly the goal and the aim. Though don't stick with someone just because of the relationship. Make sure that they're doing a great job for you and your family, and this team, the quality of which will determine a lot about how successful you are and growing your net worth.